Indigenous Month.
Yes.
Chair, you are now live.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. I guess we'll start off with we have a quorum, and regrets from Hamad, unfortunately. I guess the first thing we should do is acknowledge that we are located on the land of Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and territorial lands of the Mi'kmaq people. And the municipality acknowledges the peace and friendship treaties signed in this territory and recognize we are all treaty people. So, having said that, I'd like to welcome Sarah Allen to the committee after a long wait for being approved by council. Welcome, Sarah. And I guess at this point, I'm supposed to hand this over to the legislative assistant, Dorothy, and we have to elect officers, which we should have done months ago, but we didn't have a meeting. So Dorothy.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to call for nominations for the position of Chair of the Western Common Advisory Committee. Any nominations from the floor?
If somebody wants to nominate me, I'll do it again.
You can nominate yourself, I'm sure.
I'll nominate Mike.
Thank you, Sarah. Seconded by Ona.
Do we have a seconder?
Oh, wait.
So, Michael is nominated as the chair of the Western Common Advisory Committee. Do we have a mover that he's nominated?
A mover? Sarah Allen moved it.
Okay, and a seconder.
It was Councillor Stoddard.
Okay, so the motion passes and Michael is declared the chair of the Western Common Advisory Committee.
And a hard-fought battle it was. Thank you.
I'll pass it back to the chair.
So I guess part two is we should elect a vice chair here. But we really have a very light attendance tonight, seeing as Hamad and Jessica McCarran are not here. And everybody else is staff or a counselor. So Sarah, my dear, you're running right. You came on and now you're going to be nominated for vice chair.
That's absolutely fine. I don't mind backing you up.
Well, I'm glad. Otherwise, I don't know if I'd have one. So I nominate you as vice chair. I'm glad you accept. Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor Cottle, Stoddard. And I will, all in favor? Aye. Well, so
I'm
you
throwing you
are,
right in there, Sarah.
yep, she's aboard and has a
Okay.
title already. Well, thank you very much, Sarah. Very timely. Okay, so that's going through my notes here. So we have the minutes for today, but we went now. So we have the minutes for today's meeting. Does anybody have any issues with the minutes? If not, I call for a motion to approve the minutes. Okay, thank you, Sarah, and seconded. We have a minimum quorum here, we really do. So I hope you'll second that, Iona. And so we'll move the minutes into the and approve them.
Even Mr. Chair, even
yes,
though I
ma'am.
wasn't here for that meeting, can I still second it? I don't know.
No,
That's what I was
this is for the meeting we're having right now. This is the
Oh.
minutes of this meeting, not
Oh,
the
okay,
meeting.
okay, thank you.
Actually, Chair, sorry, these are the minutes for September 21st, 2022.
So I thought,
Okay,
For the
well,
last meeting?
oh, I was thinking we were doing the minutes for this meeting. This
No.
agenda, not the minutes, but the agenda for this meeting.
Oh, the agenda, okay.
Yeah.
If we're worried, we could always defer the vote till the next meeting, but
Yeah, that's a good question. If we don't have at least two people that were at the previous meeting, can we approve the previous meeting when we come to that? I'll throw that out to Dorothy and Anna.
Annie just left. I'll just double check just 1 second.
Okay.
did anyone hear from Counselor Cuttle? No?
I did not hear. I know she expressed interest in joining us at the meeting and staying associated with this group. But I haven't heard anything other than what I was told last Friday.
Right, right.
I think Councilor Stoddard should be good to second the minutes. Since we have quorum, the meeting can go ahead.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll second.
Okay, so yeah, we have approval of the previous meeting, the minutes of the meeting of September 21st, 2022. Any errors or omissions?
Mhm.
Okay. So I suppose I really can't, so I guess it's Counselor Stoddard and neither one of you were at the meeting. So now we're approving minutes that neither one of you were at. And I suppose I can't approve them because I'm sharing this. So a move in a second, please. So you'll move that, Counselor Stoddard?
Sure.
Okay, and
I'll second it.
thank you, Sarah. And
Like I
so
said, if we're worried, we can always look at it the next time again if we wanted.
yeah,
and
it's
have a vote.
it was yes. So anyway, the approved minutes from September 21st, 2022 are done. Now, before we go on, and get do the additions and deletions for today, there's a couple of things I'd like to sort of bring up. One of which is after this meeting of September, we had a tour of the new compost facility that is being built up Evergreen Street Road on the 5th of October. And the Director of Solid Waste, Andrew Philippos, arranged that, and Patty Cuttle and I attended it. And it was very interesting. It's going to be quite a facility, and I think HRM would be proud. I am concerned though about the amount of traffic that's going to generate, because all of the compost facility, all of the compost from all of HRM will now end up at that facility, as the Burnside one will be closed.
Can I just, Mr. Chair, can I
yes.
just interrupt for a moment? I have a message from Counselor Cuttle, and she's asking if I guess Dorothy, could send her an invite, because she says she seems to be off the list.
Yes.
Would you
Dorothy,
mind?
could you send an invite to Counselor Cuttle? That would be wonderful.
Yes, I'll send that to her now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Cuddle's well aware of this, but as an update for everybody and information, last week, HRM Council on 20th June passed CA 0138 resolution, which basically expands the boundaries of the Beachville community. And so now all that part of the 333 from St. Margaret's Bay Road up until Evergreen Place virtually is now part of Beachville. So that impacts part of the Western Common. It doesn't change anything for us specifically. It's just an information that Beachville is now a much better geographically community than it had been, and it's somewhat back to its former glory of 5,000 hectares. So congratulations on that, Councillor Stoddard. Jane McNeil was a valuable member of the Western Common Advisory Committee for many years, and she felt she had to resign last year. And I just want to basically say she will be missed, and thank you for her work over the years, and her insight, her expertise was much appreciated. Also welcome Councillor Stoddard to the Western Common Advisory Committee. So also last Friday, Gareth and Alex Quinn from HRM staff planning, as well as Iona Stoddard and Councillor Cuddle and myself, had a Western Common site visit. We walked the full length of the trail behind the PRCC, and it was an interesting and I felt somewhat optimistic after that. So that was a good introduction to hopefully what's to come, and some good news that's going to come post-COVID for the Western Common. And then the last thing is the dates for our next meetings of the Western Common this year. It had been proposed they'd be 27th of September and the 13th of December, but I don't believe we ever actually passed a motion to do that. So where do we stand with that, Dorothy?
Councillor Cuddle is here as well. Just to let you know, Mr. Chair.
Oh, thank you.
Apologies, I'm not on the committee, so it wasn't in my calendar, and I had also the PRRA and the Spryfield Community Association this evening. So I'm gonna pop in here for a bit, but I'm gonna dash in about 20-30 minutes to catch the end of another meeting.
All right, very good. Well, welcome, Councillor Cuddle. Okay, so yes, we just got to the point we're sort of gone through the basics here, gave a little overview of what we've done the last year, the meeting at the compost facility and our walk of the Western Common last Friday. And yeah, so Dorothy, do we have to just announce, or do we have to take a vote on the meetings for the rest of the year?
You have to take a vote.
Okay, it's
So we need a mover and a seconder. I did circulate the meeting dates.
okay.
I guess there's one left for this year.
Two.
Two
There's one
left.
yeah, September 27th and December 13th are the next proposed dates for
Yeah.
our next meetings. Could I have a mover of that? Thank
I'll
you. Thank you, Sarah. And seconded? Okay, thank you, Councillor Stoddard. So passed. So those are the dates of our meeting for this year. Okay, where do we stand now? Business arising out of the old meetings. I believe we do not have anything out there, do we, Dorothy?
No.
Or
No, we
deferred?
do not.
And deferred business, I think we can, we're good there. Any correspondence that we should be
No
aware?
correspondence has been received through the clerk's office.
Okay, any petitions
No petitions have been received through the clerk's office.
and presentations? Do we have
No
to bring-
requests for presentations have been received through the clerk's office either.
Well, thank you very much. Okay, so now I guess we'll move down to the Western Common Wilderness Master Plan. And Gareth has an update for us, I understand. Are you ready to go, sir?
Absolutely. Of course, I'm having additional video challenges, so I'm just gonna. Oh, there we go. Look. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Gavin's so sum up two different components to the common master plan this evening. The capital update. Alex Quinn, who the chairman was on site on Friday, has regretted the day today. He had something come up.
I'm having trouble
unforeseeable.
hearing. Is it other people having issues?
Yeah,
Yes.
can't
Yeah,
hear
you're
you,
breaking up.
Gareth.
You're cutting in and out,
Hold on.
in and out. It's very.
You might need to turn off your video and just do audio. Sometimes that helps.
My apologies. Is that better, folks?
Yep, that's
Actually,
better.
it is.
Okay. Well, this is the better part of me, I think, anyway. So I'll proceed. Yeah. So where was I? So I'm gonna summarize both the common master plan as well as the parks capital update. As I mentioned earlier, Alex Quinn had some last minute regrets. He was unable to attend. Is also contingent on him getting a consultant's report, hopefully in advance of this meeting, which that consultant's report was not in place. If I can go ahead and talk about our site visit a little bit, and by all means, Mr. If you want to fit, Councillor Stoddard met on site last week as an opportunity to reinvigorate and excited about the future of the West Common, well as associated.
Sorry, Gareth. I think you're still breaking up on our end.
You sounded good for
That's
a bit, and then you went off into some bouncy vocal land.
Fine now.
You can try
My
maybe
computer
exit the meeting and rejoin.
Give me 1 minute.
So that's good news, Sarah, that Gareth has some hard copies there. And did you not have a copy either, Councillor Stoddard? Okay, so hopefully he can forward one of those out to a copy out to each of you.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, it's it's a pretty thick book. It would be a daunting digital document, and the maps at the back are quite, they fold
Wow.
out, and there's many of them.
Okay.
So maybe Dorothy, you can catch up to touch base with Gareth after the meeting and provide the, well, I mean, I imagine he has Councillor Stoddard's address, but make sure it's sent out to you, Sarah.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I could do that.
Thank you.
Gareth just rejoined. I'm not sure. Can you hear us, Gareth?
Incidentally, now everybody else is very choppy, and I made sure to hardwire my computer in for this and work from the office. So hopefully you can hear me. How is my voice coming through now?
Sounds good. Good.
You're rocking.
Okay. Just Mr. Chair, if you don't mind waving your arms if I start to cut out, that would be great. Okay. Thank you very much. I don't know where I got cut off, so I'll try for a third time here. So the update regarding the site visit and the reinvigoration of the construction of the Western Common is ultimately what we were aiming for our site visit on the 23rd of June, just last Friday. Myself, the chair, Councillor Stoddard, and Councillor Cuddle were on site with staff from Parks Capital, Alex Quinn. Alex was there to guide us through a little bit of an undertaking, which we have a consultant in place for right now, which we're awaiting the report. We had hopes that it would be back today, but we did not get that report in time for this meeting. And it really is at the water crossings at both Nichols Lake and the waterfall, and the options and opportunities that have made themselves available now that we have provided an addendum to the master plan specifically on trail type selections and how we this fit into the topography of the common, respecting the natural setting as much as possible, while ensuring that we are inclusive and accessible within the Western Common. So that was really the intent of the site visit. I don't want to get too far down the trail, pun entirely intended, without having that road in hand. So I appreciate everybody's patience, and we'll be getting that back shortly. If there needs to be a special meeting to review that, I believe that is the purview of the committee. Otherwise, we can absolutely present that and its findings and any costs related to it, and then coming up at the next meeting in September. And otherwise, I can provide an update as well. Unless there's any questions on that, I can provide an update as far as the Ragged Lake expansion.
Yes. So I have a question, Gareth. When do you believe this consultant's report will be available, the preliminary plan?
Well, I mean, so Alex was hoping to have, like, he had after he left our site visit, I believe he had contacted the consultant in hopes of having it for today's meeting, but he did not. And this was up until 3:15 this afternoon. He wrote me to say still did not have it in hand, but imminently. So I can keep in touch with him to see when it does come through. And then I think if we can work through you, Ms. Chair, to kind of share some of the preliminary findings of that, and if we need to pull together the advisory committee to update them as well, I think that's within reason as well.
We're missing two people today. I'm not sure why, but we are. I'm wondering, what does the committee think? If this has arrived in the next couple of weeks, would it be possible to schedule something for late July or early August to get that update? Is the committee in concurrence with that?
I would be okay with that.
Okay, and you're nodding, Sarah. Councillor Stoddard?
I would be okay. I mean, of course, our calendars change, but, at this point, I would be available.
Okay. Any issues with that, Dorothy?
There should be no issues from the clerk's office. We could organize a special meeting when that report becomes available.
Okay. So, Gareth, could you let Dorothy know and or myself, and we'll hopefully pick a Wednesday night. Does Wednesday night continue to work for everybody? Pick something a couple of weeks after?
Yeah, I mean, again, our calendars tend to change, but Dorothy would have access. And Dorothy, I know I'm no longer officially on the committee, but but for the next little while, I would appreciate getting an invite just to kind of see this through to this report, the things we've been waiting for so long.
Yeah, sure, no problem. I'll make sure you're added on all the invitations.
Help with the handover of knowledge. We're getting thin on people here. So that would help Counselor Stoddard and I stay up with what's going on. Okay, Gareth.
Very much appreciated.
Okay, Gareth, if you'll let us know
Yeah.
when that report comes in, and we'll give a
Yep.
couple notice then, and we'll see if we can get a special meeting going.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And
Otherwise, sorry,
Go ahead.
go ahead, Mr. Chair.
no, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
All right. Otherwise, the other matter that was requested for information was an update on the Ragged Lake Industrial Lands Reserve and the expansion of that. So previously there was a natural systems study, I believe it was known, and then the recommendation from that is that there was a watershed impact study to inform industrial employment land use for future planning of the lands. And the big update is that's at least a 2-year study, which was initiated earlier this spring. So those findings should be back in the first half of 2025. So at least for now, it's more additional studies related to the area and not only the natural systems, but the watershed, and ensuring that that goes on. So I suppose you could identify that as good news for the time being. If there is any additional information needed on that report specifically, I can work through my colleagues in corporate real estate to provide that.
Yes, Counselor Cuddle.
Thank you. Just trying to find how to raise my hand. Oh my gosh. Yes, the wheels turn slowly. Oh my goodness, 2 years. I don't know who will be here in 2 years to see that report, but I would just like to flag something. We had a meeting yesterday about the 9 Mile River watershed, and we're doing the city is doing a project over the next like 9-10 months on natural asset mapping. It's a natural asset initiative, and they're looking in particular at the watershed, and it has to do with putting a value on our natural systems in terms of the service they provide in stormwater management. All that to be said, that when I looked at the map, it kind of went down Otter Lake, and I know from being on the community liaison committee with the organic waste facility, there's already been some preliminary work done there with an engineering firm to look at the watershed. It was in relation to concerns about the construction and containment of the leachate at the organic waste facility. And they did some pretty significant watershed mapping, and they currently have these little I don't know, Mike, do you know what they're called? Those little sampler things out there. I think there's like 16 of them, and it was curious because it's almost like the watershed split there, and part of it goes down to Long Lake and down to the lakes in Brookside, and part of it goes into the 9 Mile River watershed. So I just want to flag, one, that there's this national asset mapping initiative happening on the 9 Mile River watershed, and two, that the lands around Ragged Lake and the Western Common, I believe, do feed into that system. And so it would be good to connect some dots there. And I realize, Gareth, that would be under real estate, correct? The Ragged Lake study. But I don't know what your connection is with that.
Yeah, that study is under corporate real estate, and my connection to that is my connection to this committee, and then general oversight of the implementation of the Western Common Master Plan. So we're identified, at least as Parks and Recreation Policy and Planning, as a major stakeholder with our delivery on this master plan. So that's my relationship.
Okay, okay, so I just want to flag that. I'm gonna see if I can quickly pull up the watershed mapping study that was done for the organic waste facility, and I'll stick it, I'm gonna see, if I find it, I'll stick it in the chat, and if not, Andrew Philopoulos would probably have more access to that than I would, but I'll see if I can find it.
Gareth, if I might step in for a second, you being identified as a major stakeholder in that piece of material, does that mean that feedback will come back to you, or information will travel back to you, or are you feeding into that particular study?
It's my understanding that will be a reviewer once that information does come through, but not specifically consulted during the process. It's just like I said, it's a watershed study, so it'll be everything around water quality next to the surrounding area and systems, because there's lots of lakes and tributaries around the area, obviously, which will be impacted and need to be studied and observed.
Fine, thank you.
So is it going to be just the proposed larger Ragged Lake area, Gareth, or that area and a bit beyond?
Sorry there, Mr. Chair, that was poorly timed. Your voice cut in and out on me due to my seems to be rough connection this evening. So if you could repeat yourself, that would be great.
Yeah, no problem. I was wondering that the watershed study that's being initiated for the Ragged Lake and park expansion, business park expansion, is that going to be constrained to just the proposed limits of the park as it sort of comes up and abuts to Otter Lake? I presume that would cover Blueberry Lake and Ragged Lake as well, or is it going to be that area and surrounding areas for a certain amount as well?
I'm going to have to circle back with you on that. I'd rather get the answer right, and preferably with a map, so I can follow up with my colleagues at Corporate Real Estate to get the mapping of their study area that they're looking at and come back to you. But I'm making note of that, and that doesn't need to wait till the September meeting. I can send that to you directly, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. I'm just looking at actually figure 19 here, which is the Prospect River views, and it shows basically a waterway that can be done by canoe from Otter Lake right down through Big Indian, Little Indian, Nichols, and McDonald Lake. But it also shows a fair amount of detail of other streams, and it looks like Blueberry Lake is fed into by Ragged Lake, and Blueberry feeds into Big Indian, and then Governor Lake up in Beachville there, that feeds into Blueberry. So it looks like it's quite an integrated water system. So I'm hoping it's more than trying to define just the Ragged Lake area. They're looking at the whole area and where all the watershed flows from and to. That's just a comment, suggestion, hope.
Sorry again, connect or not great for this late. My apologies, everybody, and thanks for your patience. I will once I have that mapping, I'll get it over to you.
Right. So you think there will be a diagram explaining the area of study, or something to a map showing such? Is this what you believe?
That's correct.
Okay, look forward to seeing it. Okay, so is that's That's all the update. Well, two updates that were deferred. So that was a little anticlimactic. I was hoping for a little more there. Unfortunately, that's not happening tonight. So hopefully we'll have something that Alex Quinn can share with us in a month or so. That would be excellent. Well, thank you very much, Gareth. So just looking forward. Oh, so I see the meeting schedule as we've jumped the gun on that one, but we've approved that, and maybe we'll have another meeting coming up. So on my agenda here, I have committee member updates. Are there any from anybody here specifically or generally?
No, my only update was about the natural asset mapping that's taking place, but I think I just explained that.
Do you think that's something we should be advised of as well?
I'm gonna circle back around to them. It's there's Emma Waddy and Emma. I don't know if you remember the other Emma's last name. Emma and Emma. They're initiating this, and they're looking at the 9 Mile River watershed. Mike, I think we've talked about this before, all the way from Shad Bay up into Upper Hammonds Plains.
Yes. Similar to the Sackville River plan or watershed.
Right. So we're actually gonna organize, now that we've have this information, we're actually gonna organize a community meeting on that. So I think that might be of interest to Western Common, because I think it comes a little bit into the Western Common, on the edge of the Western Common. So if that's something that committee members are interested in, I'm sure we could get Emma and Emma to come and give a presentation on what that project's about.
Emma Barking,
Yes, Emma Balking, that's right.
the two Emmas.
Good. Okay, well, thank you for that. Well, that will be interesting to hear something more about that when that flows along. Maybe that's something we should be maybe looking at in the future for our watershed that runs through the common. Okay, so I don't think we have any added items. I would like to add, Councillor Cuttle, thank you very much for wishing to participate and still give us input. I know I appreciate that.
I do too.
So currently our next meeting is September 27th, but hopefully we'll have an update from Gareth, and he and Evan can join us for a meeting in a month, somewhere between 4 and 6 weeks from now. That would be wonderful. So if there's nothing else, let's make this a nice short meeting. Everybody can get on with their life.
I can get to the Spryfield Community Association meeting for the last hour.
There you go. I know that's what you wanted.
Okay, thank you. We'll see you later.
Motion to
Thanks,
adjourn.
everybody.
Yeah, so motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Councilor Stoddard, second by Sarah. Meeting adjourned. Good night, everybody. Thank you very much.
Good night. Take care.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Oh,
Thank you.
Michael,
Yes,
Michael, it's Gareth.
yes, sir.